When thinking about stress, there's a few things that are pretty important to understand. With stress, there's a battle in your brain between two parts. One is the amygdala, that threat monitoring system, and the other are your frontal lobes, the bit that is calm and is rational. When the amygdala gets in control of your brain, it's like wild horses running off with it. You do crazy things, you say things you regret, and then when the frontal lobes kick in later, that's when you think, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or you apologize. So the key is to, when you are stressed, is to give as much fuel and ammunition and help to your frontal lobes as possible. So there's quite a simple process for managing both short-term and longer term stress. And I break it down into three different parts. Firstly is change your perception. Secondly is to change your environment, and I mean your internal environment. And the last one is building resilience. So thinking of the first one, changing perception, the important thing to know is that if you think something is stressful, it will be stressful. And the best way to change your perception is to get a catastrophe scale. So this is a rating from 1 to 10, where 1 is completely relaxed and 10 is the most stressful thing you could possibly think of. Think of what a 10 would be for you. And when you're stressed and your amygdala is in control and it's being a drama queen and it thinks it's 11 out of 10, you look at this piece of paper and you think, it's not a 10, it's not an 11, it's actually a 3 or a 4. And it just brings those frontal lobes online. Very simple, very effective. Number 2 is about changing the environment. So there is a 4-step process that the Special Forces use in the US to actually improve their pass rates in Special Forces training. And it's a mental toughness model. The first thing is goal setting. And goal setting has to be done really small, little bite-sized chunks. If it's stressful, set a goal until lunchtime. Then set another goal for the afternoon. So shortening that time will allow the brain to really engage. That's pretty important that those goals are set in what we call baby steps, particularly when there's any sort of a stress around. And then we move on to mental rehearsal. This is about mental imagery and replaying things over and over and over in your mind, somewhere you want to be, something you want to be, a goal that you have, you want to get there. You mentally rehearse it, you rehearse over and over again what you need to do, and that creates wiring in your brain, so when you go to actually do it, it becomes easier. All athletes use it. They use it because it absolutely works. The next bit is about self-talk, because we know that our self-talk, the stuff that goes on in our heads in the background, that influences our self-image, that controls our performance, and our performance dictates further self-talk. So it's about interrupting when you have negative thoughts and replacing them with more positive thoughts. And that will actually improve your performance, which then improves your self-image and further self-talk, and it becomes a positive loop. The last bit is to build resilience. And in building resilience, one of the best things you can do is hard physical exercise. It's getting slightly outside of that comfort zone, and that will create adaptations at a cellular level that make your very cells more resilient to stress. We know that there's chemicals such as heat shock proteins released inside your cells, which not only make you more physically resilient, but more mentally and emotionally resilient. So it's pretty key that we do that. And in terms of the psychology, people who are resilient in the military have 3 what they call orientations. The first is a control orientation. They're determined to take control of their lives and their destiny. The second is a commitment orientation, where once they start something, they see it through to the bitter end. They don't stop when the going gets tough. And the last one is a challenge orientation. Challenge orientation is about viewing life stressors as challenges that need to be overcome. And you goal set around those challenges, and that can create a more resilient mindset over time. So hopefully there we have a little brief understanding and a couple of little tips that you can do to optimize your stress.